is. You know, I think when you go preseason rankings, I don't think they mean a thing in this season except for people's opinion of your program as a whole. And you know, so I thank everybody for looking at our program, saying, hey, we think you're a top 20 program. How it affects this season, I have no idea how it's going to have any effect on this season.
All right, so give us the breakdown of the scrimmage.
You know what? We got what we wanted accomplished, I think, which you know, is putting young guys in situations that they're going to have to get ready to play in the game. You know, the positives. I thought there's some positives, negatives of it. There's some things that guys aren't quite game ready, but a lot of the guys that aren't quite game ready that were playing 70 reps yesterday, when we get to game week, are probably only going to be playing 15 reps in a game. You know, so they have to learn to flip that switch. Their level on those 15 plays needs to be much higher than what we saw on 70 on them yesterday. But we got what we wanted out of it. You know, we stayed relatively healthy out of it, and those guys got a lot of reps and a lot of game situations in our stadium atmosphere.
You know, we know about the first team offensive line, but how did that second team line look last night in that scrimmage?
Very up and down. You know, very up and down. And I think the hard thing for that is, you know, when you go in a scrimmage like that, we start pulling a lot of starters out. When they go wholesale, that's when they look rougher. You know, when we started rotating, such a good point. You know, when you start rotating them early, you know, we start rotating, you know, the Damian Robinsons and the Blaine Clausels and the Dylan Days, when they all start rotating in with the ones, you know, and individually we're rolling guys through, they play at a higher level than when we wholesale sub the twos, which is, you know, we got to get them to play at that level consistently. You know, when they're one of, with the four other guys in there, they pick up their play. They got to pick that up all the time.
But the defensive ends, they get much pressure on the quarterback yesterday?
Yeah, you know, at times there was some good pressure. You know, from those guys, you know, here and there, and then there's times there was no pressure, you know, and that's, I get when you go a huge scrimmage like that, you know, for me, there's going to be things that I'm really happy about, and then there's things I want to see unbelievable performance on offense, defense, and kicking game every single snap of 100, I think we got 151 plays in, and that's not going to happen. And so that's what gets frustrating, you know, or if you see some good and bad throughout the day.
Did you make the quarterbacks full live? Or?
No, they weren't live at all.
Do you have a tough time evaluating Dylan and Tyler for that two spot if they're not full live in the game situation?
No, because I've done enough of them. You know, I mean, Tyler's played in games, right. So, you know, I don't need to see how he's going to react when he gets hit. And Dylan in the spring, we made Dylan live a whole bunch in the spring. And you all probably saw that coming out of practice every day, watching, you know, what we do with those guys. So I got enough out of that now we got to be ready to play games.
So how do you feel about the defense's depth overall after watching them go that long? I mean,
concerned about the depth. You know, there's a lot of guys we didn't let play very much. You know, and you know, it's making sure that those young guys understand there's a lot of guys that haven't played in games that are going to have to come play in a game. And playing the game's different than, you know, even in practice. You know, so we kind of force-fed a lot of those guys. And, you know, I'm sure you can say when you come out of a scrimmage like this, and I'm not watching, you know, a lot of guys taking many reps, or a lot of guys didn't get many reps. I mean, Nico Whitley didn't get many reps. Charles Mitchell got none. Wade Bonner, Boyd, Cox, those guys didn't get many reps. So you can not feel great about the defense in some ways because the young guys aren't playing up, and the ones that are rolling out there with the ones maybe the level that I want. But knowing that that's actually twos that are going to have, but they're going to, you know, when you play in this league, your twos are going to, you know, there is no 1 and 2. Everybody's going to have to take reps during the game.
So just reason why Nico and Charles didn't play that much just to get backups.
Just I need to see.
Yeah.
Nico was an All-American last year. Charles, best player on our team. I feel pretty good at how their level of play is going to be next season.
So, I mean, the second team guys, those backups, I mean, you think they were out there, what, 70% of the time last night, 80%? They out there quite a bit?
Yeah, I'd say 50. I mean, you're looking at guys, the backups got 70 reps in a 150 play scrimmage, but, you know, now the 2s and 3s each got 70 reps. You know, so I mean, there's some guys that got there's some guys played 70 plays last night that we're counting on playing 10 to 15 against Memphis. So, you know, they need to learn that. So when their number's called, they're ready to go play.
So did it almost kind of resemble like what you do with Sunday Night Football with the young guys bringing
A much more pumped up version. You know, probably not that way, but, you know, we keep the young guys out there, and that's just all the guys that aren't playing, only run a couple plays. The focus is guys that have not played in games or not played much in games, be in as much a game-like situation as we can put them in, making sure that guys that have played a lot are kind of ready to go, but I didn't need to see them play 70 plays last night.
So is the defense better than the offense at this point? Is the offense better than the defense? Is there anything there that...
Oh, who's better? We got to play some people. We know who's better than who.
Yeah.
You know, and because we're mixing and matching different things, you know, as a whole, you didn't get to see, not one time would we have our whole offense on the field last night. Not one time would we have our starting defense on the field last night with the 11 as true starters. So in that part of it, it was more to me to see individual players.
Still feel like, I know Tevez has the shoulder, but overall it's been pretty healthy camp so far.
What was the time impact of quarterbacks and receivers because you're mixing and matching the different combinations of guys and different positions?
I thought pretty good, but we've done that. You know, I mean, we do that all the time. I mean, when we go to closed brackets or open brackets, it doesn't change. We roll quarterbacks and receivers through just because our backup quarterback's got to be ready to go play. You know, and if he steps in on the field, usually it's because there's an injury to the first guy, so he better be like a starter. You know, and we like to roll 8, 9 receivers through in the course of a game, so you better have timing down with all of them. So, you know, that to me is something that is always, because we're rolling guys, you better have timing with everybody.
Can you upgrade the stats and Nick Crickling? When does he start full practice?
You know, I'm really pleased. I mean, I get nervous. I mean, he's out there doing a lot of drills. And now he was out helmet and shoulder pads doing some drills the other day, and I try to hold back, you know, so they think he's ahead of schedule. I mean, I'm still thinking that, you know, October 1st is really the clear date for him to start practicing and getting ready to go. We think he's way ahead of schedule.
So what do you guys do as a coaching staff now? Have you guys watched the tape yet from the scrimmage?
Yeah, last night and this morning.
Okay. And after watching, did anything kind of pop out to you that you didn't really notice on the field first off?
No, I mainly, you know, some of the things that would say, I mean, just watching who did well, you know, I mean, because you don't always see who did great just on the field. You can see who's better on film. You know, and that fact that the guys that haven't played in games that much have to learn the strain of what we expect on a game. They have to learn to play with that strain on game day. And there's some great clips in it that you see on film that you don't always see on film. You see a veteran player and a young player next to each other. And you see the speed in which the veteran player is playing. And you see the speed in which the young player is playing. So it's pretty evident, you know, you can look and say, we need you playing at that speed.
You guys sit down today, this weekend, at any point and start splitting up the roster? These guys are going to be scout teamers. We got to get ready for Memphis this early.
Yeah, I mean, you know, really Monday, you know, we're going to have scout teams on Monday. So, you know, just because the guys go to a scout team doesn't mean they're redshirt, doesn't mean they're doing anything. We just have to, now we're going kind of into a little bit more game prep. So, and not even full game prep for the first couple of days this week. You know, we're still kind of installing, so we'll still do a lot of good on good this week. But kind of teach scout teams. Scout teams, there's a lot of teaching that goes in on how you play in scout teams, and we got to start that this week.